What's going on, family? Black Finish checking in. Just coming a little early this morning. Just wanted to check in and talk to you a little bit. I seen a meme this morning that actually caused me to come and talk about this morning. It was actually mind blowing to know that it's that simple that your new life is going to cost you your old life. And I was thinking about my old life and my new life this morning. You know what I mean? How like you compare the two, and I'm thankful that I made that sacrifice to actually get rid of how things was. You know what I mean? And I think the process of it is it's going to be painful. It's going to be some tear jerkers. It's going to be some facing some traditional ways that wasn't good for you, but this how you was raised, so you thought that it was the right way. A lot of the things that I had to accomplish in life, I had to face to change. It was traditional things, things that actually didn't have no potency. It was just something that I was taught, so I stood on it. You know what I mean? Give me a second. Let me go check something quick. Get that light back there. But it was just say, like I say, I was just thinking about how everything that I have accomplished up to this point, it cost me something, family. You know what I mean? I'm at my mom's house right now, and some people like, man, why you always calling it your mom's house? It's your house. Yeah, I know it's mine, but my mom she laid the foundation, so I just have to pay homage every time I think about me being here. I'm like, yeah, I'm in mama's house. When someone asks me where you at, I say, yeah, I'm in mama's house. You know what mama's house is, don't you? You know what I mean? Because she planted a seed for me. And in order for me to be here now this morning, I'm still working on renovations, but things are a whole lot better than what they were. So, I'm almost done. I got some things that I'm actually waiting to do this spring to finish up, but I'm thankful that I sacrificed my old life to get my new one. And I think that in order for us to reach to that next step in life, our next life, we're gonna have to sacrifice this life. So, I get it now. Everything isn't meant to be forever, especially when we are people and we are evolving with knowledge. We live and we learn. My 20-year-old self will probably argue with my 40-year-old self right now. Like, nah, man, I got this, and my 40-year-old self know better. We've already seen it. You know what I mean? It's not going to work. But we have to be humble enough to just know that, hey, you're gonna have to go through something, family. It's almost like nobody wanna go through any growing pains, nobody wanna suffer any bit. If you go through anything, any discomfort, it's almost like I need some medication for it. I can't just take it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wow, you know what I mean? And I was just thinking about it this morning, man. I'm up early, like I say, drinking coffee, and I was just thinking about it, listening to the roosters crow, and I'm like, man, it's gonna cost us something, family. And when I seen that meme, I was like, dang, your new life is going to cost you your old one in a lot of different ways, like your old way of thinking, your old way of moving, your old way of dealing with people. You know what I mean? In order for you to get to that new level that you want to be on, it's going to cost you all of that. And sometimes we don't want to put in that cost because it does. It's easier said than done. But when you have a part of you that you know that is damaging your growth, that's keeping you from getting to that next level, I think that it should pull out something inside of you to give you a little bit more determination to accomplish it. Everything I had faced, and from going to prison at 16 to 26 years old, some of that time in there, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that it was all peaches and cream, but I maintained though. And sometimes I think about certain instances, certain things that happened in there that has actually affected me to this day, things that has helped me in a good way and a negative way. And I have to be humble to address those issues in order to take my life to a different level, because sometimes, family, we can be naive of change. Certain things can be like right in front of our face, so to speak. But we're so caught up on what we want it to be than what it actually is. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes we want something to be something, and we will look over what it actually is, like what's really going on. And then today, family, regardless of you wanting to do something profound with life, which that is great to help the humanity, to help other people, to build things, like it's great, but you're gonna have to realize that you're gonna have to start with yourself first. You're gonna have to build on your own temple and on your own mentality and ways in order for you to affect the people that you want to affect. But keep this in mind though, if you're doing it publicly, kind of like what I'm doing, I don't mind showing my flaws, good, bad, whatever. You know, it is what it is. I'm cool with it because I'm knowing that someone can use this information to help groom them, to help mold them. Because I was looking for someone on YouTube, someone on social media that wasn't watered down, that could actually give me some information I could actually talk to. I can use the videos. I can actually get something from them. And then I wanted to make myself available, you know what I mean? So a lot of the people that I actually teaching now, you know, a lot of my students, it's funny because a lot of them look at me, you know, like I'm famous, you know what I mean? Like, man, you got this going on, man. It's not, and I'm like, I'm humble. And I'm like, well, I want to still pass you the information. And by them being able to partake of the classes, it's like, man, but you giving yourself back because no matter how good I think I'm up here, I'm bringing myself down to pass this information down because I'm knowing that that's going to be life changing, not only to them, but their family, their kids. And to me, that's how you live to be remembered. That's how I'm going to live longer than whatever time span or ever dash it is between my name, you know what I'm saying? Between that date. I'm going to be able to live, exceed that because I believe in investing in people. But I know that in order for me to do that, I had to leave my old life. Like, you know, I'm not the person that I was, you know. At first I was ignorant, very ignorant, you know what I mean? I was, you know, I was caught up on colors at one time. I was caught up on blocks on one time, hoods on one time. Where you from? You know what I mean? Like I've been, you know, I've been on both levels, both sides of the fence, you know. You know, I've been from, you know, trying to be a pimp to working on the corner selling rocks. You know what I'm saying? Like I have had the opportunity, family, to experience some things that I thought, oh yeah, this is it. And then once you do it, you like, man, this ain't about nothing. But as a man, you don't really know certain things until you experience some certain things. We really have to get the wisdom from the older folks. Like we really have to sit back and get that game because history repeats itself, man. So regardless if you want to go try it or not, if this person, if it's proven that this is what's going to happen at the end result, why take yourself through that headache, um, through that misfortune if you don't have to? Like if you can learn from somebody like me, or learn from somebody like Tukey, or learn from somebody like Larry, you know what I'm saying? Learn from someone who did time incarcerated, who they even killed incarcerated, you know what I'm saying? And God forbid, I can only hope and pray that they free Larry Hoover, but if he don't, he's probably going to die incarcerated. Another one of our black heroes, I feel, that came from the slums, who actually picked himself up and did something. And they like to throw up our past, but look at America past. They say, oh, he did this. America hungers. They killed us. They, you know, I even know people now that have been drugged down the streets in the rural areas. Like America got a very ugly past. So for them to look at a slave and say, hey, he started out wrong, but he picked himself up and got it together, you know, I feel like, you know, it's a slap in the face, man, for them to say, well, after your incarceration, we don't think you to change, but they've been screwing us forever. Look at history, you know, over 100 years as Black Americans, African Americans in America, you know, things would never be fair. And but you have naive people that say, well, you got this, you got this. I'm like, man, they don't fully understand that the system is rigged, especially for us. And the more I'm out here dealing with, the more I see it. Like it's rigged for the women, it's rigged to keep the man down, it's rigged for the reproduction. Like it's so much stuff going on. We can't be naive to it. Like, oh nah, this ain't what it is when it is what it is. You know what I mean? So you know, once I see things, man, I just like to say, hey, anybody can change. You know, if you want to embrace a new America, how can you not embrace a convict? If you're gonna break a convict, you said, well, he did construct, he was doing this and brought gangs together. Look at all the Ku Klux Klan members and all the KKK members and all the police departments who was connected to him, who killed lives and took lives and did drugs and took drugs and stole drugs and put them in different communities. All the stuff they did. Ain't nobody talking about that. Every time something go wrong in Chicago, though, they want to talk about Larry. You know, they want to talk about the disciples. They want to talk about the gangsters. They want to talk about the gangs. Not saying that who's putting all this stuff there, who's keeping it in the mix. You know what I mean? So we can't be naive, family. You know what I mean? But in order for us to get that new life, though, we got to change. We got to give up that old one. And the more I think about, you know, the growth and development, because I really believe in that growth and development concept. Like I came up under growth and development. Like it wasn't when I came along, family, it wasn't gangster disciple, even though that was the old way. When I came up, when I was brought up in it, you know what I mean? Because everybody got you know, it's different things that change over time. So when my turn came, when I was young and I was brought up, um, 13, 14 years old, when I came up in it, it was growth and development. It was about change. It was about economics, politics. It was about education. It was about unity, sticking together, forming something, building something, doing something. But we still had those 360 mentalities, that old way of thinking, that old way of doing things, you know what I mean? And that's the way, to me personally, that keeps us down, because we have to give up one way in order to cross over to the new way of thinking, in order to get a new concept, you know what I mean? In order for us to be on a new mindset, we have to leave that behind, you know what I mean? And that's why I embrace the 720 concept so much, because you truly have to grow and develop. Like you have to go through different stages, but you got to get the right information. If you don't have the right information, growing and developing to what you want to be isn't going to be like everyone else. Like you can't compare your growth to someone if you're not getting the proper nutritions and the proper things. You know, they did a test, a study on some kids. I think they had like 12 kids in one room, 12 kids in another room, and the first 12, they did everything like a normal parent would do. They played with the kids, they fed the kids, they joked with them, they, made them feel comfortable and all the good things. And then the second group of kids, they just did the the least they could do, as far as just feed them. They didn't do a lot of interaction with them, a lot of playing with them. They just gave them the things they needed and left them in there. Come to find out, those were the kids who had a disadvantage. They wasn't very smart. They was a little slower than the other. They didn't get it. Things didn't really enact their brains to the point where they could actually open up a different door for themselves to think different. So they end up being slower kids. And I think, like, when we grow up being in different environments, sometimes men and women, we are in environments where we'll lack that affection, we'll lack that love and that attention to help us really grow and nurture, you know what I mean, into, great individuals. And sometimes we just grow up. And when you just have to just grow up in a tough situation, when there's no love and there's no nothing, sometimes you might be a little rough. Now I understand that 10 years of growing up in that environment made me a different, you know what I mean? It made me a little bolder. It made me a little colder in certain ways, because I had to survive in a different way. I wasn't like the normal kid that got the love and affection. You see what I'm saying? I was in a different situation. So I'm not using it as a crutch of not to get better, but as a reality that my situation, my upbringing was different. And it's just facts, family. We have to embrace the truth about us, where we come from, where we're going. And in order for us to get this new life, man, in order for me to start this new business venture that I'm working on, to educate other youngsters in the area. Salute, salute, good rising, good rising. Thanks for checking in. In order for me to do the things that I want to do, I actually have to make some sacrifices. I have to shed some skin, so to speak. So this morning, like I say, I'm just in my hometown. The birds out and chirping, and I was just thinking about change, family. I'm thinking about letting go, letting go of the old in order to, get to that new level. And I think that we have to do that constantly in our life. Like, we constantly go from one level to the next, to one level to the next. And you don't want to be stagnated. You don't want to stay in a situation longer than you have to. You don't want to be in a relationship longer than you have to. And I just want to state this for the record. A lot of our hardships come from relationships, picking the wrong people, being with the wrong people. You know, everybody have bad relationship situations, but I will say this for the record: don't be afraid to let go of a relationship once you see that it's damaging, or once you see that you're not happy. If one person is happy and you're not happy, and you know you're not, just let it go. And there's no reason to be mean, hateful to nobody if it's not working out, man. Just move on. You know, I think people have an issue with it, just outgrowing. You know, you outgrow people, you change, you grow, you you become someone else sometimes, and life is what it is. And like I say, it's all based on the love and the support and the environment that you was in to determine what type of person, what type of product you're gonna end up at the end. So, you know, I'm humbled that through the time, through the frustration, me being raised in different areas, and the struggles that, you know, my mom and my dad and them faced, you know, growing up, that I'm here now able to teach and guide and to give something behind, even if it's just blogging and having some information out there that someone might need, you know. So I just think that in order for us to really change and get to that next level, we have to embrace our flaws. We have to embrace everything about us. We have to embrace the good and the bad, family. And you really have to know what you want. Like, ask yourself that question. Sometimes people say, man, I want this, I want that, but they don't really know what they want. Like, literally, like, what do you really want? Ask yourself that question. Then you got to say, the next hard question is, what are you willing to do to get what you really, really want? You know, so, you know, you don't have to do nothing bad, but you're going to have to make a sacrifice with yourself personally. It might be a personal habit. It might be some foods you got to stop eating. You know, you're trying to get healthier. You know, we all got our different struggles. We all got things. You know, I don't think that as long as we here on this earth, we should always be striving to get better. Like, you should never get to the point where you kick your feet up and say, "Oh, I'm good now. I don't need nothing else." Now, you're always growing mentally, spiritually, physically, and so I think we should address those things. This morning, like I say, I just wanted to come live, talk to you about that for, briefly. Just something that was on my mind, because I'm knowing that in order for us to make this new change, we're gonna have to get rid of the old, and it's gonna cost you that. So if you really want it, family, if you really want that change, what are you willing to do? You know what I mean? You got to be willing to make a sacrifice. Yes, 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 yes. Thanks for checking in. Yes, yes. Thanks for checking in. You know what? It's just real, because we have to be willing to make them sacrifices. We have to be willing to do what others won't do. You know, a lot of times, we just look at situations as, oh, well, so and so did it. You know, I could probably, just because so and so achieved something one way, I have learned that even if I give it to you, the game verbatim, what I did, you still gonna have to apply it and add your twist to it, because it might not just work like it did for me, or what he did might not just work for me. I might have to add a little sauce to it. You know what I mean? And you might have to put something in the recipe. But all I'm saying is, get you a recipe, family. You know, find your purpose, find what you want, find what keeps you going, and use that as your key to survive. Like, that's going to help you when everything else go left field, family. Your willingness to survive and your purpose, like why you're doing it, what you're doing it for, what you're trying to accomplish. Like, keep your end goal in mind, because being out here, it's easy to get sidetracked, family. It's easy to get manipulated and destroyed by the system, caught up in the lies that they give us through media. You know what I mean? So do some homework, family. Work on yourself. Realize that in order for us to live to be remembered, we have to live through other people. So yeah, it's okay, and it's good to be selfish, because self-preservation is key. But the goal is, once you help yourself, go back and help somebody else. Y'all be blessed. Have a good day.